Hmm. Shalom, brothers and sisters. What's going on, fam? How's everybody doing today? I say Ashar Shabbat, a blessed Sabbath to everybody. Prevailing herbs, first in the building on the comments. Shabbat Shalom to you. All right, brothers and sisters, y'all know the drill. As you come in the building, it would be greatly appreciated by me if you would hit the like button on the way in. And you brothers and sisters can also drop in the comment boards where you're calling from, where you checking in from, what state, what city, what country. I like to know where brothers and sisters are watching from. St. Louis, JH125, St. Louis in the building. Never been there. Most High will one day I'll make it there. So just I always say brief and always lie because it always goes way longer than I want. Shout out to M. Moss in Cali. Just came from LA like 2 months ago. Love it out there. Just a quick Sabbath morning conversation. Prevailing Herbs is upstate New York. Okay, cool. Huey B. Shooting. Chilltown JC in the building. Yep. Just a quick Sabbath conversation with the family. I always say quick, right? Then y'all start asking me questions and I wind up on here for 3 hours. But not today because I got stuff to do. I got a PowerPoint that I'm working on. I'm trying to record that. And I would like to get it up tomorrow for you brothers and sisters. Although I'll be at the Israelite concert tomorrow. I want to get it up for you brothers and sisters. A good PowerPoint that I'm working on right now. Some information that I think brothers and sisters will find useful. So I want to get that done. So I don't want to be on here too long. Yeah. So, how's everybody doing on the Sabbath morning? Like I said, just a quick conversation. I know I'm on East Coast time, so for a lot of people, it's really early. So you're not going to really probably see this until a little bit later. So all praise to the Most High. CEO Dunes, I see you. Shalom to you, King. Once again, if you're in the building, please hit the like button so the video can be seen by more people when they come on and log on to YouTube. So today we're going to talk briefly about something called, you see the title, is called To Eliminate the Opiate. To Eliminate the Opiate. I've spoken about this book to the family before, right? And this is the book right here. It's called To Eliminate the Opiate, right? I should be getting a percentage for even promoting this book, but nevertheless, for me, this is a good read. This is not for everybody. This book deals a lot in conspiracy, right? I say a lot, not fully, but a lot in conspiracy because some things can only be speculated about and can't necessarily be proven. But what this book does highlight a lot for me is relationships. This book deals a lot with relationships, which I'm going to get into in a second. When I say relationships, what am I talking about? It goes into how things get started, which brings us to where we are today. So in order to understand where we are today, where you have such vitriol and hatred against the Bible by so many different groups, by so many different people, we didn't just end up here. We ended up here gradually. That's how we ended up where we are today. Why you have so much criticism against the Bible and the Word of God. Why you have so many translations of the Bible. How many of you brothers and sisters know about the translation explosion? Have y'all ever heard that phrase before, called the translation explosion? Many of y'all have never heard about that. That's a real thing. What is the translation explosion? What was it and why did it happen? You hear people ask all the time, why are there so many translations in the Bible? Well, that's a real thing. It's something called the translation explosion. That was initiated by something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you brothers and sisters a chance. I always do. If you want to research what I'm saying, I'm going to give you a minute or two to go get a pen and a paper. You don't have to write everything I'm saying. But I would ask that some of you brothers and sisters, if you don't know some of what I'm about to say, open up the notepad on your phone, open up, go get a piece of paper, a pen or pad, write down what Danyaahla is saying, and go look into it for yourself. We're not here to raise parrots up. We're not here for you brothers and sisters to repeat what it is that I'm saying. No, that's not what this is about. This is about you doing your own research. My job as a teacher is to arm you with the information so you understand what's going on in your world that you're living in and why there is so much hatred and vitriol against the Bible. How did that happen? Next time somebody asks you, why are there so many translations in the Bible, you'll be able to answer because I'm going to give you some information. So once again, brothers and sisters, open up the notepad on your phone. If you want to look this up for yourself, go get a pen and piece of paper. I'm going to give you another minute. If you're in the building, like I always tell you, hit the like button so that when more people log on to YouTube, they can see that we're live. All right. Rita Perry, shalom to you. Blessings to you. Up, you're in Neptune, New Jersey. That's what's up. Sister Mika in the building. Mika is everywhere. Mika's like me. Mika's the sentinel. Mika, if you don't know what the sentinel is, look that up, man. Everywhere, all the time. Wherever you at, the sentinel's there. That's you. That's me too. You know what I'm saying? I'll be all over. Sometimes I'm in the cut. Sometimes I'm not. Mika's like the sentinel. She's the female version of the sentinel. I see her everywhere. Sanetta doing a live. She over there. Love you too, sis. Garfield doing a live. She over there. I'm a Rock Squad doing a live. She over there. I'm doing a live. She over here. She everywhere. She like the sentinel. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Right. All right. So, like I said, if I don't want this to be long, I'm not going to wait too much longer. If you don't catch what I say, nah, he ain't CEO Dunes. He's not dropping it. I spoke to the brother. He told me how hard it is to put a book together, so the book is not dropping. But whenever the book drops, that's all I'm gonna say. You know, we'll deal with the book when it drops, right? Yeah. Anyway, so let's get back to what I was talking about before. So, if somebody asks you, brothers and sisters, why there's so many translations of the Bible, and you don't know why that is, I'm going to tell you. And again, write this down and look this up. There is something called UBS Vatican Agreement. I'm going to say it again. There is something called the UBS, U like uniform, B like boy, S like Sam. The UBS Vatican Agreement. When the UBS, the United Society of Bibles, or whatever it is, United Bible Society, I believe that's what the UBS is for. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all can Google it. I can't because I'm live on my phone. But when the UBS, the United Bible Society, and the Vatican came into an agreement, they signed an agreement together that was subsequently followed by something called the translation explosion, which is why you brothers and sisters have so many translations of the Bible today. And your conscious community couldn't tell y'all that. But I'm telling you, because I have something that I study called textual criticism, which means that there are so many translations of the Bible. I look at them all. I don't just say, oh, I deal with the KJV because my elder said it. No, I look at them all and study everything to make sure, to be sure. You know what I'm saying? The Bible says, let every man or woman be what? Fully persuaded in your own mind. If you're going to teach something, if you're going to be a part of something, you need to be fully persuaded, or else you are in a religion, whether you say you are or not. You need to know what you're dealing with. So there was something called the UBS Vatican Agreement, which was subsequently followed by the translation explosion. That's why you have you go into a Bible store, or even, you know what I'm saying, or even a regular bookstore, and you go into the Bible section and you see like 50 different translations, which is confusion. That was done on purpose. Now, it's very important to understand why that is important, brothers and sisters. The Vatican was against the Bible being translated, brothers and sisters. Keep that in mind. Why do you think there were 8 attempts on King James's life? Why do y'all think that was? That was the Jesuits in the Vatican doing that. If you read the introduction to the Bible, that's why it's important not just to read the Bible, but read the introduction. In the introduction, he tells you about the Pope and these attempts on his life because they did not want the Bible in the hands of the common people. And prior to him, everybody that was translating the Bible was doing it in secret. They weren't able to do it in public because if they did, they could be killed by the Catholic Church. You understand that? Another person that's of very much importance, write this down, is Cassiodoro de Reina. Cassiodoro, Cassiodoro, spell it the best you can. Cassiodoro de Reina. He's a very, very important person in biblical translation history. Who is he? Cassiodoro de Reina. Cassiodoro, D-E, the second word, Reina, R-E-I-N-A. Cassiodoro de Reina. He's a person that translated the Bible into Spanish. Brothers and sisters, look that up. Guess what? The Vatican, under the auspices of the king, said about Cassiodoro de Reina. Guess what they said? Y'all want to take a guess? Anybody want to put it in the comment boards? When he was translating the Bible into Spanish, which by the way he had to go into hiding to do. Now, let's just talk about that for a second while y'all in the comment boards. Why is it, if the Bible's a fairy tale book, that the people that were found to be translating it were killed? Why is it that other people that were translating it had to hide? It's a fairy tale. I never read about somebody that translated the 3 Little Pigs have to go into hiding because they were translating the 3 Little Pigs or writing the 3 Little Pigs. Or Romeo and Juliet, the 3 Musketeers. No. The people that were translating the Bible had to go into hiding. But what was said about Cassiodoro de Reina while he was translating the Bible? Does anybody know? Does anybody know? I'll give y'all a second. Somebody put it in the comment. Say it again. There you go. P Shavers 206. Either you've been watching me for a while or you've been doing your own studies. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say you've been doing your own studies. Cassiodoro de Reina was accused of being a homosexual by the church. Sorry about that, family. By the church. He was accused of being a homosexual. Isn't that what they said about King James? Y'all don't see the parallels? He was accused of being a homosexual. This daggone phone, don't mind me, y'all. When you don't do it on your computer, this is what happens. Right? Some of y'all could Google that while I'm talking. See for yourself. He was accused of being a homosexual. Cassiodoro de Reina. If anybody's Googling it while I'm talking, if anybody's Googling that, copy the link and put it in the chat for the rest of your brothers and sisters so they can go and research it. Today we're talking about Eliminate the Opiate. That's this book right here. I'm going to go into it in a second. We're talking about to eliminate the opiate. So what we're doing is, what I'm giving brothers and sisters, I'm giving brothers and sisters tangible information that you can go out and you can research yourself. None of this stuff is new. None of this stuff is unrelated. It's all related. We're dealing with what is called relationships when it comes to the Bible. To destroy the Bible took hundreds of years, and you have certain relationships of people that are all related. It's all related, as I'm going to show you. They're all working together in concert to destroy the Bible, pursuant to Psalms 83. Come and let us what? Cut them off from being a people. They were confederate. These nations were confederate. Sorry, that's Psalms 2. Also Psalms 83. The nations get together and they come and they want to get together to keep us from being a people. And it's relationships that have been put together for years. And I'm going to show you, brothers and sisters, that today. Deprogramming Lightner, shout out to you and thank you for the donation. I appreciate every cent. I appreciate it. It helps, right? So for my brother Marvin that came and asked what you missed, I'm going into a little bit of history concerning the translation of the Bible. So I asked the question of the audience. You just came in, so I'll recap really quickly. I asked the audience, I said, why are there so many translations of the Bible? If you don't know, you can research this yourself. It's something called the UBS, United Bible Society Vatican Agreement. They came to an agreement. So as I was relating to the people, when you go back and you read the history, the Roman Catholic Church was always against the Bible being translated. That's replete throughout history. Everybody knows that, right? They would kill people. They plotted on King James's life. Everybody knows about the gunpowder plot, the whole nine. Everybody knows about that, right? So the Vatican was always against the Bible being translated. But at some point, the Bible became so popular, the Vatican had to do what? They had to go back and they had to re-strategize their war plan. So no longer could they now be against the Bible because everybody already had a Bible. Everybody already had Bibles now. So what do we do now? So they entered into an agreement with the UBS, the United Bible Society. They made an agreement with them. And then following that, you had something called the translation explosion. That is why when you walk into a Bible bookstore or a giant bookstore like Barnes and Nobles or whatever have you out there, when you go into these stores and you go into the Bible section, you see about 50 translations. That is the result of the UBS Vatican Agreement. Not because the Bible is not the Word of God, not because everybody has their own opinion, their own trade. No, that was strategic. You must know that. So the next time somebody asks you that, you must know that. All right? Once again, Deprogramming the Lightener, I appreciate that. I appreciate that highly, right? Okay. So we're straight on that. Once again, brothers and sisters, like I keep asking, as y'all brothers and sisters come in the house, if anything I say is edifying you, I'm not asking y'all to give me nothing but a like. So the video goes up in the algorithm and people that come on YouTube can see that we're live and they can participate in this conversation and they can, you know what I'm saying, learn from it as well. Hopefully I say something that helps you, brothers and sisters. I know this information already, but a lot of you brothers and sisters don't, and you don't really, there's not really a lot of people that do know this information. And so the Spirit of the Most High moves on me through my research and my study to share with you brothers and sisters as much as I can. I try to come at y'all with different information than you get from other camps. Or shout out to everybody else, right? But everybody can't talk about the same thing. Everybody can't talk about the same thing and give the same information. And so I try to give you brothers and sisters information that you might not be able to get other places, but it's all related and they're doing a great job of what they're doing. And I'm putting in my piece. All praise to the Most High. And I said I wasn't going to be long, so I want everybody that's here to be locked into what I'm saying. You can go and research this stuff yourself later on. Yeah. All right, Dwayne Bradley, my website is Wake Up Jacob 12. It's the Sabbath, so I don't do business on the Sabbath, right? My website is Wake Up Jacob, the number 12. Everything you need to know is there. If you want anything else you need to know is there. All praises to the Most High, right? CEO Dunes, much love, much appreciated. Thank you so much for that donation. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue, right? So now we're clear on that, why we have so many translations. Now we understand that, right? Let's go back a little further. Let's go back a little further. And again, write this down if you don't know this information, brothers and sisters. How many of you brothers and sisters know who Erasmus is? How many of you brothers and sisters know who Erasmus is? All you, and I'm not trying to be insulting, just learn. And there's no insults here. Y'all already know how I roll, right? But all you Israelites that say that you don't deal with the Hebrew and you only deal with the KJV, if you don't know the stuff I'm telling you, you especially you, need to write it down and go research this and put this in your arsenal. You should know who Erasmus is. If you're an English-only Israelite. You should know who Casiodoro de Reina is. You should know who Westcott and Hort are. Okay? You should know these things. Who is Erasmus? Well, Erasmus is responsible for something called the Textus Receptus. You might say, Brother Daniel, what the hell? What the hell is that? If you read the King James Bible, you're dealing with the Textus Receptus. You just don't know it. Which means, to a degree, you're religious because you're holding a Bible in your hand no different than a Christian and you don't even know how you got it. And as I always tell y'all, my camp, if anybody's from my camp, or in the comments will tell you, I beat this into their head to the point now where they finish my sentences with this stuff because I tell them it's imperative for you to know this stuff. It is imperative. The Textus Receptus is the Greek rendering of the New Testament. The KJV, for the most part, is the only translation of the Bible that the underlying New Testament deals with what's called the Textus Receptus. The rest of the translations of the Bible, they deal with something called the Alexandrian manuscripts, which consist of Codex Vaticanus, Codex Sinaiticus, etc., etc. Okay? That's what it deals with. It deals with what's called the Alexandrian manuscripts. Won't get into that now. I have a whole PowerPoint on textual criticism. I'll get into all that later. But the reason why I'm dealing with Erasmus is responsible for the Textus Receptus, which is the underlying Greek in the KJV. So, I'm going to ask the class again. Everybody should answer now. Everybody should answer now, because it's a pattern. What do historians say about Erasmus? Somebody put it in the comments now. Come on, y'all. Come on. What do they say? Come on, Heavenly's in the building, she in the spirit. Historians say Erasmus was a homosexual. Do y'all see a pattern here? Do you brothers and sisters see a pattern here? Erasmus was accused by historians of being a homosexual. Google it, brothers and sisters. Don't take my word for it. Google it. You know why Erasmus is accused of being a homosexual? Guess what the evidence is? They found some letters that he wrote to somebody. Listen to what I'm telling you. You're not getting this hardly anywhere else. Listen to what I'm telling you. They found some letters that Erasmus wrote to somebody. And those letters, I believe they're called the Severus letters or whatever. Somebody Google it while I'm talking and put it in the chat. Erasmus. They found some letters that he wrote to somebody. They're called like the Severus letters or whatever from Erasmus. And those letters are used by historians to say Erasmus was a homosexual. What is the evidence that they use against King James? They say he wrote letters to George Villiers. Didn't y'all see the fake woke conscious community? Didn't they use that angle? Those that don't know history are what? Are what? Bound to repeat it. And the underlying text in the KJV is what, brothers and sisters? It is the Textus Receptus, which comes from Erasmus. And Erasmus himself was also accused way before King James of being a homosexual based on some letters he wrote that somebody took out of context. Is that a coincidence, brothers and sisters? Is that a coincidence? Y'all think that's a coincidence? I'm telling y'all, some of y'all need to watch this video again if you're not writing, and you need to write this stuff down. And you need to study it. Arm yourself with information. That's why some brothers and sisters that's not rooted is falling out the truth because you're listening to, I'm just going to say it, I'm not going to pull on, because you listen to bullshit and you don't study. The Bible says, study to show yourself approved. The problem with a lot of Israelites is you don't study. And then when somebody comes with some bullshit, and because you didn't study, now you're confused. Don't say nobody never told you. Right, Lawyer Khan, they got a weak spirit too. Somebody asked what, how do you say it? Okay, Erasmus, you can just sound it out. E-R-A-S-M-U-S. Erasmus. Just look to type in Erasmus, gay in Google. Everything you need will come up. Everything you need will come up. They'll show you who Erasmus was. They'll tell you about the Textus Receptus. They'll tell you, a lot of historians will tell you he was a homosexual and it's based on some so-called letters he wrote, which were taken out of context, which coincidentally is the same argument that they used against King James hundreds of years later. How ironic is that? How ironic is that? So all of it is relationships. By the way, what was the underlying text in the Spanish translation that Casiodoro de Reina, he's the one that translated the Bible into Spanish. What is the underlying text in the Spanish Bible? It's the Textus Receptus. So now, let's review. Erasmus, Textus Receptus, accused of being a homosexual. Casiodoro de Reina used the Textus Receptus, accused of being a homosexual. The KJV has the underlying Textus Receptus. What was he accused of? Being a homosexual. Being a homosexual. Y'all don't see it? It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. So, now that we have all that, now that we have all of that information, and I'm glad to see that some of y'all brothers and sisters said you're writing it down and taking notes, whatever. Good, good, good. That's what you're supposed to do. And then go back and fact check what I said. Now, sometimes I speak really fast, and I got so much information floating around in my mind, sometimes I misquote things. Like yesterday, all praises to a brother. I made a statement in my video yesterday, and I said that the Most High told Moses he would raise up stones to him. I'm talking fast, right? So sometimes I misquote things. So the brother came to me, he's like, yo, Danyaahla, you know you misquoted that. And I told the brother, thank you. I told the brother, thank you. Sometimes I'll say something and I'll misquote it because I got so much things in my mind. But the underlying idea of what I'm saying, you brothers and sisters, is correct. You can go research that. If I misquote a date or I say a name or whatever like that, that's a small thing. All right? Just so y'all brothers and sisters know that I am human. I haven't received my glorified body yet. I'm waiting for that. I'm praying for that. You heard? All right. Now, how's everybody doing? Everybody's all right? Am I boring y'all? Am I boring you brothers and sisters? See, I can't force y'all to listen to this stuff. Brothers in my camp, I forced this on them. They'll tell you, I forced this on them. If I die tomorrow, this information must continue. It must continue, and y'all need to know it. Because tomorrow's not promised to nobody. So my job from doing my research is to teach you. And you brothers and sisters, y'all have the luxury of something called the internet, which I didn't have when I was coming up in this truth. And so everything was reading. Now you guys have a wonderful tool called Google. Everything I said, you're like, what? He said, what? I don't know about that. Let me go Google that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So y'all have a wonderful, wonderful advantage and luxury that I didn't grow up in this truth with. So be thankful to the Most High for that, right? Now I was talking to you brothers and sisters in the title about I'm sorry, sometimes I get a little thrown off reading comments, so I got to stop doing that, right? I was talking to you brothers and sisters about this book. It's called To Eliminate the Opiate, right? Now, again, because, you know, people will probably talk about this live stream, you know, the haters of God will talk about, oh, he was talking about conspiracy. That book is all about conspiracy. Yeah, it's true. The book mainly deals with conspiracy because a lot of things in here, obviously, are done in secret. So obviously, there's not going to be a paper trail. But what the author does that I like is he exposes relationships. And via relationships, you can then draw certain conclusions, which I agree with, right? So let me tell you a little bit about this book. I'm going to read to you the back of the book, some of the bullet points on the back of the book for y'all brothers and sisters to see what the book is about. And then you can decide you can decide, you know, if it's something you will be interested in. Shout out to my man Chief Ephraim in the building. Yeah, Chief Ephraim asked about Strands bookstore. I'll tell a story about that shortly. Yeah, Strands bookstore was the ish, brothers and sisters. If you're from New York or in the New York area or not, Strands bookstore was, matter of fact, you brought it up. So I'm just going to tell it now because my old ass will forget it and not tell y'all the story later. So there was a book called Strands bookstore. It's on 12th and Broadway if you're in New York. It's still there, but they're actually talking about closing it. You can actually go to their website right now. It's called Strands, S like a strand of hair with an S, S-T-R-A-N-D-S, right? And basically what it is, it's an antique bookstore. They have over 4 miles of books. I think it's like 4 or 5 stories high. And in that bookstore, people from all over the world, all over in New York, tri-state area, whatever, they bring antique or old books they don't want no more. And you can actually sell the books to Strands and get some money for it. You know, you don't have, you know, you need room in your apartment. You have all these books you're not using. You can sell them, right? So when I was a cub coming up in the early 90s in the truth, right? In 92, 93, 94, I've told y'all the story before. The elders came out with a series, a 30-part DVD series, which I've shown y'all some of, you know, highlights of that before. And they used to show a lot of history books in there. And so what we found out was, you know what I'm saying, one of the elders, he was a great exaggerator. I ain't gonna say his name. He was a great exaggerator, right? And what he would do is he would tell us that these books cost hundreds of dollars, right? Now these books was costing $5, $10, $3, $2, like on Amazon today, some books, right? And you can buy them all at Strands bookstore on 12th and Broadway. So myself, Elder Priest Bunloy, who passed away, and other brothers that was into the history, we would go down to Strands bookstore and we would buy the books. Now listen to the story, y'all, because it's kind of funny, right? Now, back in the 90s, there was no YouTube. So how did we as Israelites mass propagate the word besides being on the corners? It's called public access TV shows. So before YouTube, we would do public access TV shows. And the same impact that we have today on YouTube where the world is watching our videos, right, is the same impact here in New York that we had on public access. The so-called Jews were watching our shows, brothers and sisters. They were watching our shows. They own Strands. So now you have a group of, let's say, 5 or 6 young black men in their teens or early 20s going down and converging on Strands bookstore. And what's the first area that we go to when we go into Strands bookstore? We go to the Judaica section. And them so-called Jews dressed in all black like the daggone Undertaker, like Abraham Lincoln, they would see us going in the Judaica section, and they put 2 and 2 together, and they would check us out. We would go in there, we'd get books, and we'd go check out, and they would look at what we're buying. And after a while, they got hip to who we were. And so one day, I'll never forget it, bro. I'll never forget it, brothers and sisters. We went to Strands, and we went to the Judaica section because the elders had put out a new DVD with new books, so we was down there to buy them books. Brothers and sisters, them so-called Jews told us to get the F out just like that. They told us, we don't want your money, we don't want nothing, get out. So yeah, that's just a quick story about Strands bookstore. All right, since the brother Chief from brought it out. So again, talking about this book right here, I'm going to read some of the bullet points on the back of the book, right? It speaks about Adam Weishaupt. If you brothers and sisters don't know who Adam Weishaupt is, Adam Weishaupt was a Jesuit priest, right? You can read about him. And from Adam Weishaupt comes what was known for a while as the so-called Illuminati. That comes through Adam Weishaupt. And also the Communist Party can be traced back to Adam Weishaupt, right? And there's something else that's very, very, very hard to find, but actually existed for 50 years. There was a group that was founded in 1776, and it continued for 50 years. The name of the group was called the Bible Destruction Group. It was founded in 1776. It was called the Bible Destruction Group. It is almost impossible to find really anything on them. It's almost impossible. They lasted about 50 years. Now, why under God's green earth would a book that's all myths need a group to be formed who was intent on destroying it? What for? It's fake from the beginning. What for? Anyway, that's one thing that this book goes into. Another thing that this book goes into is there was a plot to destroy the Torah through the field called biblical criticism. And that is what you see the so-called conscious community doing today. They're doing what's called biblical criticism. The problem is biblical criticism didn't start with the conscious community. It started with white men who are part of elite or secret societies that formulated that and those arguments. And so this group gives you the DNA of who those people are and their relationships, because it's all about relationships, right? And through those relationships, you have a lot of these guys that are anti-Bible that are appointed to chairmanships in prestigious universities. And it's a DNA that's passed down from one to the next, to the next, to the next. They don't just randomly pick someone to chair a particular department at a particular prestigious university because you're smart. That's not the way it works. It is relationships. So you have to continue the work that I started. So if I'm part of a group that is set up to destroy the Bible, the person that succeeds me has to continue my work, but in secret. But in secret. And these relationships can be traced all the way back. All the way back. And that's what the author goes into. Who founded Reform Judaism? Who founded conservative Judaism? Who founded Orthodox Judaism? He goes into all those things and why those particular branches of Judaism were founded. Because what it did was, even though the so-called white man that calls himself a Jew is not really a Jew, what he's showing you in this book, and is good, is that how those different branches of Judaism strayed further and further away from the Torah. Well, you'll have what you call liberal so-called Jews today that will believe that there's nothing wrong with being a homosexual. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with having kosher pigs, so forth and so on. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with having gay parades in Jerusalem. Nothing wrong with it. You see what I'm saying? You have rabbis that actually go along with that. All their DNA can be traced back to this. So the author goes into all these things in that book. Don't you brothers and sisters know that if you are an archaeologist, right, and you do research, and by your research you say to yourself, you read the Bible, you do research and say, you know what, I think we ought to excavate in this particular area over there in Israel because there might be some relics relevant to the Bible in this particular area. You think an archaeologist just gets a team and goes over to that area and starts digging? Is that what y'all think? That's not the way it works. No. You got to petition the government, the Israeli government, that you want to go and excavate in a particular area. You have to do that. Then that's one hurdle that you have to do, right? Then if you get permission from the government, now you need someone to finance your excavation or your archaeological dig. You think you're just going to go out there and just get anybody? No. All of this stuff deals with relationships and the people that have access to those areas to dig and the people that have access to the finances and everything, the people that are in those positions are all set up to destroy the Bible. All of them. All of them. And that's what this book goes into. It's all about relationships. So when you hear people say, oh, well, there's not that many relics and there's not this and there's not that in the Bible. Well, the reason why is, I'm going to tell y'all brothers and sisters something, because you're not allowed to dig and excavate in certain areas. And you're not allowed to get the finances from the government if you have a particular stance on trying to substantiate the Bible. You'll find it harder to get funding. There's a guy right now, you brothers and sisters can look him up. There's a guy called Joseph Garfinkel. He's one guy that comes to mind. There are many others, but this one always stays in my mind. It's always at the tip of my tongue. There's a guy called Joseph Garfinkel. I believe his name is Joseph Garfinkel. And they did an article about the guy. I ain't gonna call him a brother because he's a so-called Jew. But he spoke about how the difference between him getting funding and a guy like Israel Finkelstein getting funding. Israel Finkelstein gets funding with no problem, because he's set up. He's set up. He's part of that DNA that's set up to destroy the Bible, to say the Bible is not real. So he'll get funding. But others that are trying to substantiate what's in the Bible, they can't get the funding. And even if they can get the funding, they can't get the permission to go dig in that particular area. All of this is set up. And all you have is the conscious community using information from these people to attack us. That's what's going on, brothers and sisters. That's all it is. That's why this book is so important. That's why I recommend the book highly. Because if you read this book, you will understand exactly what's going on in the conscious community. You will understand exactly the information that's being used by the conscious community against us. You'll understand it exactly and know whose argument it is. You might see a brown face, or what they call a so-called black face, arguing with you, but I'm gonna tell y'all the way I look at them. When I have arguments with the so-called conscious community, I see a white man in a black face talking to me. That's what I see, because I know where those anti-Bible arguments come from. I understand it. I understand it. I understand it. I understand who the chairmen and department heads are at universities and how they get there. I understand that. And so that's why I don't lean heavily on what they call consensus scholarship. What is consensus scholarship? Consensus scholarship is you'll have a particular group of scholars. They all come together and they say, this is that. They all come together and say, the Bible is not real. Moses didn't exist. And you have a group of scholars that come together and say it's called consensus scholarship. I don't deal with that at all. Because the conscious community doesn't deal with consensus scholarship when it comes to ancient Egypt. Do they? No. Dr. Ben, what he taught is not consensus scholarship about Egypt. What Dr. Clark taught about Egypt is not consensus scholarship amongst white scholars. Not at all. But as soon as we start dealing with the Bible, they want to run to consensus scholarship. We don't deal with that. All right? Another thing to understand is something called a crypto Jew. How many brothers and sisters know what a crypto Jew is? What's that? Anybody knows what a crypto Jew is? Crypto Jew. Anybody know what that is? Okay. A crypto Jew is someone that will be born to a family of so-called Jews, but the family will convert to Christianity, they'll convert to Islam, etc., etc. And what they'll do is, behind closed doors, they'll keep their traditions that their family kept, their ancestors kept, but in public they'll claim something else. That's a crypto Jew. So you might have somebody that's a so-called Jew behind the scenes, but in public they claim to be a Christian, but they're really so-called Jews. You understand what I'm saying? Like you have families like the Rockefellers. The Rockefeller, that's not, and the Rothschilds, really, I should say the Rothschilds, right? The Rothschilds, that's not really their real family name. That's an adopted last family name that they have. They're crypto Jews, right? You have crypto Jews in Christianity. You have crypto Jews in Islam, all of that. Christopher Columbus himself, they say, was a crypto Jew as well. They say that. All right? So you have crypto Jews. And in this book, he goes into how you had certain so-called Jews that converted to Christianity and other things in order to infiltrate those things and bring in certain things as well. It's all related. And so the author goes into these things, right? Another thing I wanted to talk to you brothers and sisters about is the Smithsonian. Shout out to Brother Malak from AOC. He did a very, very good segment on this in that documentary that they put out called Despierta. And in that documentary, they went into the history of the Smithsonian Institute. The Smithsonian Institute is similar to UNESCO, right? You have a lot of archaeological sites and buildings and places around the world that are called UNESCO sites, right? They're under the UNESCO banner. Another banner a lot of museums and places like that are under is the Smithsonian banner as well. All right? And when you do research on the Smithsonian Institute will actually go around the world and they will buy archaeological relics and information and then suppress it. Did y'all brothers and sisters know that? So don't think just because we don't have certain pieces of evidence where we can tangibly show the world about this Israelite thing that we're in, that they don't exist. Because that's what the so-called conscious community and the so-called white man that calls himself a Jew that's in charge of information, that's what they want you to believe. But no, when you do your research on the Smithsonian Institute, they will go around the world, they will buy relics, and then they will suppress them and hide them. This is a fact. One of the ways that we can prove that in that documentary is those stones that were found in Puerto Rico with the Hebrew writing on them. The only reason why we know about those stones is because the Smithsonian wasn't able to get them all. It was several different museums and different people that got a portion of those rocks, and they all suppressed it. But that brother, that professor, he has some of those rocks. Y'all brothers saw the documentary that Malak did. If y'all did, you need to get that Despierta documentary and find out about that information. That professor has some of those stones, or whomever in Puerto Rico has some of those stones. So they weren't able to suppress it completely. But the stones the Smithsonian did get a hold of, they suppressed that. And we know museums suppress information all the time. I said this before on another live stream. I'm going to say it again, and I'll get around to it when I get around to it. So I've been having this back and forth argument about this whole King James being black thing, right? Now, how many of you brothers and sisters know that in Scotland, one of the museums has an image of his father being black that they suppress? Meaning, I found it online. I found that the museum is in possession. I got the screenshot. The museum is in possession of the black image of his father, but it says on the screenshot, they don't have it on display. They don't have it on display. The one that's on display is the one that looks like damn Elvis Presley. That's the one that's on display. But the dark-skinned one with the woolly hair, that one is not on display for people to walk into the museum and see, but they do admit that they have it. They just suppressing it. I got the screenshot. So museums do that all the time. You see what I'm saying? All of these things work in relationship to each other to suppress information and keep information away from you brothers and sisters. That's why you constantly have to study. It's too much of us as Israelites on social media arguing and bickering about bullshit. I just got to say it like that. There's no other way for me to say it. Sorry if you offended at those words, but that's what it is. When I'm on Facebook and I'm seeing Israelites going back and forth, arguing and banging with each other over things that are not relevant to salvation or waking our people up, I just don't understand it. Where is your energy towards the people that's trying to take the Bible from us completely? Where's your energy for that? Where's your energy against the haters of God? I watch you brothers and sisters banging on other camps. This camp is against this camp. This camp is against this camp. This camp ain't right. Those brothers ain't right. Then you have the all you camp Israelites, all you brothers are wicked Israelites and everything. So much energy when it comes to other Israelites, but no energy when it comes to the haters of God. I see no energy in you whatsoever. It's like I'm out here fighting against the fake woke conscious community almost by myself. Myself, General Hashar, and a few others by ourselves. You Negroes are arguing and fighting with each other. And it's a damn shame, man. Then you turn around and you guys are crying when you see videos on so-called contradictions in the Bible, one after the other, after the other, after the other, and y'all crying and complaining about it. You know why? Number one, because you be on there watching yourself. You over there watching instead of studying. If you studied, that shit wouldn't mean nothing to you. You would laugh at it. Those arguments are old arguments. Those so-called contradiction arguments are old arguments, brothers and sisters. They're not new. They were around when I first came into truth in 92. Y'all didn't know that? In 92 or 93, I did this before, I'll say it again. Ice Cube wrote a song called When I Get to Heaven. Any of y'all ever heard that song by Ice Cube, When I Get to Heaven? How many brothers and sisters heard about that song? It's by Ice Cube, it's called When I Get to Heaven. Anybody ever heard it? Yeah, I know, I probably deal with a lot of young people, man. Yeah. Ice Cube had a song called When I Get to Heaven, right? In the song, he said King James slept with his mother. That's what he said in the song. That album went platinum. That means over 1 million people bought the album and heard those lyrics. Now, the conscious community to this day still teaches that. How many of you brothers and sisters have heard that King James slept with his mother, which is another, besides the homosexual argument, that's another thing they try to use against us to try to discredit the Bible by trying to make the people that were involved in the translations of the Bible all homosexuals and degenerates. How many of you brothers and sisters have heard that King James was having sex with his mom? Y'all ever heard that? Some of you are saying you never heard that. Some people are saying they can't remember. Dwayne Yosef said he heard that. Tribe of Judah said he heard that. The Most High Strengthened said he heard that. Mika 1 said she heard that. Okay. I saw somebody, a hater of God, go on a camp YouTube page and put that on a comment board. And I watched that comment sit there unanswered for months. And I said to myself, I thought I went over that. But you never, one thing I've learned about teaching, if I ever learned anything else in this truth, is teaching is all about repetition. Because you think you went over something, and there's more people didn't hear your lesson than did. So with me, sometimes when you watch my live streams or my whatever, pardon me if I repeat myself over and over, but I'm teaching and there's always somebody new and there's always somebody that didn't hear this. So now, brothers and sisters, if you didn't hear this, it's as simple, and I don't like Wikipedia, but you can go to Wikipedia, you can go to the Encyclopedia Britannica, wherever you want to go. I want you to do this very, very simple thing. Hey, General Lee, what's up, man? We got General Lee in the building, brothers and sisters. Oh, man, so the neo-Nazis, the skinheads, and everything, they're in the house. I'm glad you're here. You can hear about your destruction, all right? Because your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. Just so you know, generally, your days are numbered, right? But you're here to distract. I'm not going to let you distract the lesson, so we're going to continue. Brothers and sisters, so now this is how you respond to that. Very, very simple. Very, very simple, right? You go to Google and you type in what year, or type in when was King James born. Just type in when was he born. It's going to give you the month and the year that he was born. Just do that, right? Just do that. When was he born? Open up another tab and type in when was his mother, Mary Queen of Scots, when was she arrested? When was she arrested? Then toggle between the two tabs. What you're going to find out is that his mother was arrested and jailed before he was even 1 year old. I'm going to say it again. His mother, Mary Queen of Scots, was arrested and jailed before he was even 1 year old. So unless he was sleeping with his mother before he was 1 year old, that never happened. That is pseudo information. Why was his mother arrested? His mother was arrested because she had his father killed. She was having an affair with another man. The other man caught feelings for her and killed his father. And so she was jailed by her cousin Elizabeth. She was jailed as a result of that. And so he was raised by tutors and other people. He was not raised by his mother. His mother was arrested before he was 1 year old. So that pseudo information that Ice Cube spit in 1992 in a song that millions of people bought and the conscious community repeats to this day is as simple as just studying and researching for yourself. But what you have to understand, and what Danyaahla be trying to explain to the family, the reason why you have this information out there is A, because they bank on our people not reading. B, because the Bible was used as a tool against us in slavery, and not the whole Bible. Now we know about the slave Bible, where they took out all the Old Testament and a lot of the New Testament and just left the passages, certain passages in there. It was used as a tool against our Bible by certain slave masters. They know that we as a people will become emotional, where we will now want to disconnect ourselves from the Bible, not knowing they gave us a watered down version of our own records back to us. Because the Israelites that had the whole Bible, like Gabriel Prosser, Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, etc., the ones that was reading the whole Bible, they had a revolutionary spirit. We know this. They had a revolutionary spirit. But they bank on us being emotional, and so they'll just throw random pseudo information out there, and the people will believe it. Oh, he has sex with his mother? Oh, no, we got to put the Bible down. No, you're a dummy because you don't study. You don't study. Sorry. You just don't study. So now you brothers and sisters know his mother was jailed before he was 1 year old. They never had sex. That's pseudo. That's pseudo. You see? But this is passed off as real information, brothers and sisters. And real information sits idle because nobody researches anything. And everybody's over crying about what's going on the other channel, but nobody's doing nothing about it. No, his mother was not an Edomite. None of them were Edomites. None of them were white people. None of them. Don't you know that it's very easy to prove that Elizabeth I was black? Don't you know that? It's real simple. And so, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell y'all what. And see, when I next, I'm not gonna say when. But I'm gonna put together that's a lesson that'll probably take me 15 minutes. I'm gonna prove that Elizabeth I, who was King James's they were second cousins. Elizabeth was cousins with his mother, Mary Queen of Scots. They were first cousins. So Elizabeth and James, they were second cousins. I'm going to prove to you that Elizabeth was a black woman. She was. Not because I say. I'm going to use a primary source for that. I got it. I have it. And so, if she was black, her cousin Mary was white, and her second cousin James was white. That's how we doing scholarship now? See, somebody made a point before, and I agree with it 100%. It's not a smoking gun that's going to say, oh, King James was black. You're going to have to bring a lot of other information around it to get to that point by bringing in family members, fathers, uncles, cousins, etc., etc. That's what you have to do. That's how you prove it. So I'm going to deal with Elizabeth I, right? She was responsible for locking up Mary, putting her in prison, for killing his father, Henry Darnley. And so he was raised by tutors. He wasn't raised by his mother. So that whole thing about him having sex with his moms is pseudo. All right? Right. Now, I haven't even paid attention to whatever you brothers and sisters are talking about. Y'all just having a good old time. Kwame Ma'at Ra, Mental Hotep, shalom to you, bro. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I have 58 likes, and I have double that in here. So I'm hoping that you brothers and sisters will hit that like button and get those numbers up so more people can see it. Shout out to Global Media. Thank you for the support. How many brothers and sisters, I'm just throwing random shit out there because I know the haters of God and my students, I'm talking about the conscious community, they're my students. Like a lot of these niggas don't know this history till I say it, and they gotta run and research it behind me, then try to use it against me. This shit is funny. How many brothers and sisters know about the Antonine Wall? The Antonine Wall. How many of y'all know about that? You might like the what? The hook about what? It's something called the Antonine Wall. A-N-T-O-N-I-N-E Wall. Well, I don't mind that you brothers and sisters don't know, but guess who else doesn't know? Niggas that's making videos against me. Niggas that's making videos against me. They never heard that word until now. The Antonine Wall proves that the early Scots was black. How about that? If you go to Google and type it up, all you're going to see is Renaissance images of the Antonine Wall, paintings of the Antonine Wall. They're all going to look like white people. But when you actually go to the wall, what's there is a lot different. And I found the actual relics on the wall, from the walls. The wall, everybody's talking about the walls. Well, yeah. I found the relics that are on the wall. And they look way different than what's on Google Images, I tell you that. Yeah. Seven Lights photo asked, did his mother die in jail? To my knowledge, yeah. She never was released out of prison because she was in there for murdering his father. Abdul Wakil. Right. Abdul Wakil. Okay, very good. Right. You probably have seen what I've seen with the Antonine Wall. Yep. Tells a whole different story Them freaking images that you see of the early Scots and everything that the conscious community goes to Google and uses to try to say Danyaahla doesn't know what he's talking about. No, you niggas don't know what you're talking about. And you Christians too. You have some clown named Faithful to the Devil that did a video against me, 57 minutes of absolute stupidity. Absolute stupidity. Trying to call yourself debunking me. And you don't even know what you're talking about. You wouldn't even have known to look for what you're looking for if I didn't do a PowerPoint on it first. And then you show that you don't even understand the basics of language. The basics of language. You don't even understand what it is we teach. You're an idiot. Yes, we teach that when a suffix, do you understand the difference between prefixes and suffixes? When you add the suffix ish to a word in English, that means that's saying that it's not really that. So in other words, you say something is reddish, it's not really red. Bluish, not really blue. When you add the ish suffix in English, that's one thing. But that word ish in Hebrew is something else. And you did a video using the English to try to debunk me. And you was dead wrong. Dead wrong. Because the world, the entire world, is trying to suppress in one way or another this Israelite movement. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be contained. It's growing. It's spreading. And they're doing everything that they can to try to debunk it. And it's not working. And so now they're desperate. See? I don't take nobody serious that does a 57-minute video on me and I can't see your face. And then I go look at your videos and that's pretty much the same thing and everything. Who are you really? Who are you really? Some of you guys might be sitting right in the damn CIA headquarters and making videos against us. Who the hell knows, man? But you can't stop this truth. You can't. Anybody that falls by the wayside, I said this in my video yesterday, I'm going to say it again. It's a difference between being called and being chosen. It's a difference. Many people are going to be called into this truth, and you're going to serve a purpose for the truth, and you might wind up falling off because you wasn't chosen. The Most High has a chosen nation, which is Israel, but amongst Israel, the Most High also has a chosen, which is called the elect, or other parts of the New Testament calls it the Israel of God. The Israel of God is the same as the elect. The Most High has a chosen, an elect. And Israel is the chosen nation, but not everybody in Israel the Most High chooses for this knowledge, to receive this information. Some people the Most High will give you a dispensation. You'll come in, the word will take root for a period of time, and you'll do certain works, but you're not really grounded 100% because you're all over the place. You watch Israelite videos, then you watch conscious community videos, and you watch this, and you watch this, and you watch that. You start dibbling and dabbling in this, dibbling and dabbling in that, and next thing you know, now you bugged out of your mind. I've seen some of the greatest men in Israel in this thing that are now bugged out of their minds completely because they didn't study. It's not about sitting here listening. I'm glad if I say things that interest y'all, if I say things that entertain y'all, myself, and anybody else that you watch. I'm glad if you find, you know what I'm saying, interest in what we're talking about. But I was having a conversation, I forget with who, yesterday, and we were talking about how this generation doesn't read. You don't read. You don't read. Everything with our people now is a YouTube video or a meme on social media or what have you. Nobody's doing real research anymore. And so what's happening is once you're not doing real research anymore, once you're not reading books, once you're not going past what your teachers, including me, is saying to you, once you're not going past that and doing your own research, you are susceptible to all types of doctrine and types of bullshit. I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Did y'all not hear me? When the elders used to do videos, we would run down to Strands bookstore on 12th and Broadway, and we would buy the books that they said and research it for ourselves. That's why at the beginning of the video, what did I do, brothers and sisters? I told y'all, go get a pen and paper and write down what I'm saying and double check it. Have I not been saying that? Was I not telling you, brothers and sisters, open tabs and look up who is Cassiodoro de Reina, who is Erasmus, who's this, who's that. Make sure that I'm not just here running my mouth. What is the UBS Vatican agreement? Because some of y'all wasn't in here earlier. So some of y'all missed that whole portion of the video. What is the UBS Vatican agreement? The UBS Vatican agreement explains why there are so many translations of the Bible today. The Vatican went from killing people for translating the Bible to making an agreement with the United Bible Society to have Bibles translated, to confuse you. That's the new tactic. Now you have the women's edition Bible, the men's edition Bible, the children's edition Bible, the New International Bible, the American Standard Version Bible, the American this Bible, the that Bible, the New World Bible, the Queen James Bible. How about that one? That was a good one. That was a good one. The Queen James Bible. Ah, man, so many. That comes from the UBS Vatican agreement. But there's one little problem. One little problem. And that little problem is the KJV, the original KJV, is the only translation to my knowledge. Maybe the New King James Version also, maybe, I'm not sure. But the KJV, to my knowledge, is the only translation that uses the Textus Receptus as its source for the New Testament. The only one, to my knowledge. All the other translations use what are known as the Alexandrian manuscripts for their New Testaments. What are the Alexandrian manuscripts? I said this earlier, I'll go over it again. Codex Vaticanus, Codex Sinaiticus, etc., etc. Those other Bibles use what is called the majority text, as the base for their New Testament. That is due to two clowns by the name of Westcott and Hort. Too much history to get into right now, but Westcott and Hort, they're the devil. Literally and figuratively, they're the devil. Those guys were into all types of BS, but they were also responsible for translating Bibles, okay? They were into all types of BS on the side, which, by the way, I'm glad I took notes because I'm getting old. I would have forgot to say that too. Another thing I wanted to say to you, brothers and sisters, really quickly too, right? When you're studying history, particularly any history, when you are studying science, anything that's dealing with any type of information, it's important to know the background of the people that are bringing you this information. Westcott and Hort are a perfect example of why you need to know the background of the people that are bringing you this information. Because by knowing their background, you know that they have an agenda. Understand that. That's what this book goes into too. They have an agenda. The people that were used to translate to 1611, all of them have backgrounds, and you can go and you can do your research on that. By the way, another one, random. How many of you brothers and sisters, and this is important, so again, I'm going to say before I say it, if you don't know this, write it down. Gone over it before, but I'm sure the majority of you have never heard it, even though Danyaahla's gone over it before. How many of you brothers and sisters have heard the conscious community say William Shakespeare helped translate the Bible? How many of you heard that? Give me a second. Talk to me now. Okay. Good. Y'all all heard that. So now I'm going to put y'all on the spot. We're kind of in class, even though y'all not in front of me and there's a delay. Who could tell me how you could prove? And I'm not asking you for your opinion. I'm asking you for the class, for the audience. How do you prove that that is a lie? Somebody block Killer Bee Witchfinder. If you come into my chat and you've never been to the old school and you start talking, I'm blocking you. I don't remember you from the old school, so you can't talk about the background in the old school because you didn't know any of the leaders. I did. And that's bullshit what you said. All right, somebody said the date. Give me more. Give me more, Heavenly. You said the date. The date. Ambassador Malak said the Dead Sea Scrolls predate Shakespeare. True. That's not quite what I'm looking for, though, but that's true. That's on point. That's right on point. Yep. How do we know that that's bullshit, though? Anybody? I'll give y'all like another minute. Okay. So everybody heard it, but for the most part, a lot of us, and it's okay, because I didn't know for a time either. Somebody been studying. Brother Marvin been studying. You close. You are so close. You're cooking with fire, bro. You're cooking with fire. You're cooking with fire. All right. So let me go into it. Number one. And I'm winging it now. I'm winging it. I know I'm close, so I might be a little off because I'm winging it from the brain. Y'all see, I ain't got nothing in front of me, no books in front of me, except for this one. So I'm winging it, right? William Shakespeare, Marvin is correct, was dead before Psalms was ever finished. Before the Psalms was ever finished, right? When you read this bullshit story that the conscious community propagates, they say William Shakespeare's name is in the book of Psalms 46. They say his name is in Psalms 46, right? Now, I want my moderators, if somebody from my moderators, somebody can do this, right? Somebody do this for me. I want my moderators, I'm going to give y'all an easy book, although you can actually look this information up and Google it and find it all over the place. Somebody from my moderators type into the chat or go get the link. There's a book called The Cradle King, like a baby's cradle, The Cradle King. Very good book. And from there, you can follow the sources from that book to get this information. There's a book called The Cradle King. In that book, The Cradle King, they introduce us to somebody that most of you have never heard of, and that's okay. I didn't either. It's only because I read books where I notice. It introduces us to a very important man in history called Sir William Alexander. So those that don't study, that hate the Bible, the conscious community, they say it was William Shakespeare. It was Sir William Alexander. That's the guy. Write it down. Look him up. Who is he? There is a point in history that they had a council. And the council was, they decided they were going to translate the Bible into English against the wishes of the Pope. And what happened was, they had this council and they proposed to the king that they would translate the Bible into English. And he gave his blessing to translate the Bible, but he did not give his blessing to translate the book of Psalms. How many of y'all know that? How many brothers and sisters knew that? When King James gave his permission to translate the Bible, he did not give them permission to translate the book of Psalms. He kept the book of Psalms back. That's why you have fake scholars telling you that he translated the Bible. No, he kept the book of the Psalms back and he hired somebody named Sir William Alexander. Sir William Alexander. He hired him. And they together made an attempt to translate the book of Psalms. The translators did everything else, but William Alexander and King James got together and they tried to translate the Psalms. Why? I'll go into that another time. Why did he keep the Psalms back? It's very spiritual, but I'm not going to go into it now. But they got together and they attempted to translate the Psalms. Listen carefully to what I'm telling you. He died, talking about King James, before the book of Psalms was finished being translated. He died, I believe it's 1625. Y'all can Google it. I'm winging it. About 1625. The book of Psalms still wasn't finished. The 1611 had already come out. But the book of Psalms was not done as late as 1625. A lot of y'all didn't know that. And after he died, William Alexander finished the work and translated the rest of the book of Psalms, and it was added later. Did y'all know that? Why did I bring all that up? It had nothing to do with William Shakespeare at all. It was actually a guy by the name of Sir William Alexander. Open another tab. Look it up. That's pseudo. And what do they say about William Shakespeare, brothers and sisters? They say he was a homosexual. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. I go over these things with y'all because, well, pick a side or what else. Come on, you in my camp. So I know you know. I know you know, because y'all, you know, I'll be beating everybody in the head with this stuff. Well, it's the kings of Scotland believe that they were just, I mean, he already brought it out. The kings of Scotland, they believe that they were direct descendants from King David. That's what some historians say. I don't have no primary source for that, but historians say, and historians say that the kings of Scotland trace their lineage directly back to King David. That's what historians say. That's part of my PowerPoint presentation, by the way. They say that. Which is why he kept the Psalms back for himself, because he was a king of Scotland first before he's a king of England, right? Okay. So he believed himself to be a direct descendant of King David. By the way, random thought, if the kings of Scotland thought they were descendants of King David, how could King David have been a mythological person? How's that? How's that? Why would they believe themselves to be descendants of a mythological person? I'm just curious. And by the way, this is random all the way to the right now, all the way off topic now. But this whole thing about the people in the Bible being mythological, right? As we move closer to the time where Christ and the 12 apostles, according to the biblical narrative, walked the earth, as we move closer to that time, I'm talking about 1st and 2nd century history. How many credible historians from the 1st and 2nd century, listen carefully to what I'm saying, how many credible historians from the 1st and 2nd century, which were right around the time when Christ and the apostles were supposed to have walked the earth, how many credible historians were running around saying Christ didn't exist? Who are some of the credible historians? Tacitus, did he say that? Celsus, did he say that? Well, first of all, was Tacitus a credible historian? Did he say Christ didn't exist? What about Celsus? Was Celsus, C-E-L-S-U-S, was Celsus a credible historian? Was he running around saying the people, Christ in them, didn't exist? Lucian of Samosata, did he say that? Pliny the Younger, Another historian. Did he say that? Where are the credible historians from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century at that time that was saying these people in the Bible didn't exist? And weren't those historians I just mentioned, weren't the majority of them anti-Christian? In other words, they hated the Christians. So they had every opportunity to say that these people didn't exist. Them Christians over there are crazy. Celsus did not like Celsus. Y'all can look him up. Celsus did not like Christians at all. So he had the perfect opportunity to say, them crazy Christians over there talking about some Jesus figure that didn't exist. Why didn't he say that? Why are we waiting almost 1,000 years later in modern scholarship now to come up with this thing, oh, by the way, they didn't exist? Y'all do realize that, right? That's relatively modern scholarship and historiosity, which is not even a word. I hear brothers saying historiosity. That's modern history and scholarship. When you go back to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century, the historians of that time were not saying that. Y'all have to keep that in mind. And today, we live in a time where information is more suppressed than ever. The further back you go to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century, they were dealing with more primaries because everything wasn't suppressed. There was no museums that were suppressing history. There was no Smithsonian Institute that suppresses history. The Roman Catholic Church didn't have hegemony over a lot of the information in the history that they do today. That happened over time. So when you go back and get closer to that time, you don't find people saying that at all. Because it's not true. It's modern scholarship that was put together by the elites. And then they place their puppets in every area, whether it be religion, whether it be chairmanships at schools, whether it be scholars, whether it be archaeologists, whatever. They place strategically people in those positions that propagate that nonsense. That's how we end up where we are today. That's why this thing, we can't be ashamed of it. Much of what we deal with today is going to be contingent to a degree on faith. It's either you have it or you don't. We're going to prove as much as we can prove. But a lot of what we deal with today is going to come down to you having faith. That's why our Lord said, blessed is he or she that have not seen and believed. You're going to have to build your faith up in these last days, because these attacks on the Bible are going to come fast and furious. And you're going to have to be rooted in this thing, or you're going to fall off. It's just as simple as that, brothers and sisters. I'm going to give you as much as I can give you as far as history and information is concerned, but there's a lot of things that we deal with that's going to be contingent on faith. And you don't have to be ashamed of that, because the conscious community, the Kemetic community, etc., they have the same problem. The majority of stuff that you read about ancient Kemet today, brothers and sisters, don't let them fool you. A lot of that stuff comes down from the Greeks. Sir Flinders Petrie told you that all that remains really of the papyri of Egypt, etc., are rags and tatters, fragments. The rest of it, they have to fill in the blanks and make up. A lot of what you know about day-to-day ancient Egyptian or Kemetic life comes from the New Kingdom, under which you had a lot of foreign rulers. So we go into their records, especially the Greeks and the Romans, and we find out a lot of things about what the Egyptians were doing in the New Kingdom. But the further back you go, the Middle Kingdom, the Old Kingdom, is the less information we have. And a lot of it that they deal with is dealing with faith, because they don't know. They don't have the records to prove it. They don't have the records to prove it either. Don't let them fool you. They only fool you if you don't study and you don't know. But we know. We know. That's why I get at them every chance I get. I know you Negroes don't really know a lot of stuff that was going on in the Old Kingdom. And what you do know, you want to hide. You want to hide. That's what you want to do. Cannibalism going on in pre-dynastic Egypt. Female circumcision going on in pre-dynastic and ancient Egypt. Y'all didn't know that? Pedophilia, homosexuality, All that stuff. There was no period in time in ancient Egyptian history where you can go in and they was keeping what they call ma'at as a society. At least during the time of King Solomon in our scriptures, Israel was righteous for that 40 years until this dude got weak and started dealing with the women of the other nations and went off. But at least we could find a time where we as a people kept the laws. And I have a lesson that I did. I'm going to do it again. It's not on this channel because I don't really do my teaching lessons on this channel. This is more as a universal channel for those that want to deal specifically with Lions of Israel. You know, we have our other channels where I go into the lessons over there. You know, but I have a lesson that I taught once before. I'm going to teach again called the Kingdom of Solomon is the Kingdom of Heaven. A lot of y'all don't know that. When you read about Solomon's rulership from the time that David anointed him to be king all the way through his reign, especially the early years, when you read about the kingdom that's promised to us, you see a lot of parallels. I have a lesson on that. All right? So we have a time in our history where we was righteous. That's recorded. You don't see that in ancient Egypt. You don't. Where are their laws? Where are their laws? They don't have none. They tell you ma'at. Ma'at is something that you call what is called the declarations of innocence. They call it the laws of ma'at. Ain't no goddamn laws. These are things that you say after you die. I have not this. I have not. That's after you die. I've been asking. I want to see either on a papyrus or I want to see in stone. You pick it. I want you to go in the Old Kingdom or the Middle Kingdom particularly. I want you to bring me a papyrus or a stele and show me Egyptian laws that you had to keep in life. And if you didn't keep them, what was the penalty? For instance, if a man slept with a woman that was married and committed adultery, what was the law in ancient Egypt concerning adultery and what was the penalty? I don't want to hear nobody's mouth. I don't want you to tell me about ma'at. That's said after you die. I want to see a papyrus or a stele in life. What were your laws and what happened if you broke it? If you committed, let's see, incest, which I know there was no laws for that because Akhenaten was a pedophile and committed incest as well. I mean, not incest, but he was a pedophile. Some of your gods, some of your netters were committing incest with their brothers and sisters, their brother and sister, and they're married, having children. That's in your holy texts. So I know you didn't have laws for pedophiles. What about homosexuality? You guys say it was taboo in ancient Kemet to be homosexual. Okay, cool. Show me that in a papyrus or a stele. I'd like to see that. And what would happen if somebody was? And then why is it so prevalent in your community openly? Who is Ras Sumaba? What's up with that dude? Why is the Nuwabian community that teaches a lot of their principles are founded on ancient Kemetic science, the Nuwabians, Dr. York, why is it that they're talking about gatekeepers? Gatekeepers. Hermaphrodites. They don't call them homosexuals, they call them hormone sexuals. What's up with that? What's up with those teachings? It's like the minute somebody touched ancient Kemet, now all of a sudden you have all types of craziness going on. What's up with Bobby Hemmett? And he was teaching about the gatekeepers and hormone sexual. What's up with all these dudes that deal with that stuff always come with that and y'all be trying to lie and say it's not there. That's why I say anybody that falls out of this truth and goes into that, you are crazy. You're crazy. It's not there. So going back to what I said before, a lot of this is dealing with faith. And you don't need to be ashamed of that because they have the same problem. The reason why you don't know it is because you allow them to question you all the damn time. Always asking you questions about the Bible all the damn time. That's why you never get a chance to really delve into what they're dealing with, but I do. And throw it right in their face. I was reading about one of their gods, one of their netters in the coffin text. In the coffin text, I was reading one of the spells, and one of their netters was a pedophile. Their netter was a pedophile. In their holy book. And they asking us questions about the Bible. All right, but family, I'm about to go. If you're in the building, hit the like button. Show your brothers some love. Thanks everybody for the donations that y'all put in. Greatly appreciated. I was supposed to be using this time to do a PowerPoint presentation that I wanted to give you brothers and sisters tomorrow. Although I'm going to be down here for the How Music concert in the park tomorrow, I wanted to do a quick PowerPoint presentation and just upload it so those of y'all that are at home, you guys can have something to watch and you can have something to learn from. But I spent so much time talking to y'all, I'm not sure if I'm going to get through it or not. But I'm going to attempt to do it now. If you're not subscribed to Maccabeestv, make sure your brothers and sisters subscribe to Maccabeestv. You brothers and sisters, this is the truth. And it's going to get bumpy. You brothers and sisters do realize it's going to get bumpy, right? Whatever you're seeing going on with the so-called Israelite community and the attacks on the outside and all the fighting on the inside, if you brothers and sisters think it's bad, it's going to get worse. You're going to be tried, right? You're not going to inherit the kingdom just like that. You're going to be tried. Things are going to get bumpy. If you don't root yourself or ground yourself in studying and researching this thing that you're into, and if you don't build up your faith through prayer, fasting, studying, researching, you're going to fall out of this thing. I'm not saying that anybody has to join any camps. I'm not saying that. A lot of you people like to speak against camps, which is cool, if that's you. But I don't think you should. If you don't want to join the camp, you don't have to join the camp. But don't speak against brothers and sisters that congregate, because there's strength in congregating. The Bible says, forsake not the assembling together of yourselves. There is strength in assembling, man. When you come together with other brothers and sisters, you feed off of them. See how I come on here, I teach and everything like that. When I go to camp, the brothers in my camp will tell you, I hardly ever go up and teach. Hardly ever. That's why y'all be like, where's your camp videos teaching? You know why? I've been doing this for so long that I don't need to. Sometimes I need to sit in the audience or stand on post and listen to other brothers teaching and feed off their spirit. Rejuvenate my spirit. I need my spirit rejuvenated sometimes. And so that's why when I go to camp, I'll just, let the younger men, let the other elders teach. I'll go up there every now and then, but for the most part, a lot of times I don't, because I'm still at camp, I'm still participating, but I need to be taught sometimes and be rejuvenated. And sometimes somebody will break a scripture down a little bit different than I did, and I'll get something new. Like, I never thought, looked at it that way, and so forth and so on. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So assembly is a good thing, And so what I was saying was, whether you're part of a camp or not, find some brothers and sisters that you can assemble with. Whether you get y'all create if you're not in a camp and you have a couple of like-minded brothers and sisters, get a free conference call number and y'all get on it sometimes and just build with each other and build each other up. I'm not saying you have to join. Y'all, one thing you never see me doing, we don't recruit for our camp. A lot of camps, they be recruiting like a mother. We don't recruit, because I believe that to be a part of our camp, you got to be something special any damn way, and you got to be coming in here ready to work, or else don't come. You got to come here with something to offer. I'm just talking about as far as, like, you see what's going on, you don't complain about what's not happening, you come in and you fill that void. That's the only people I want. That's it. I don't want 500 men and 450 of you are unproductive. My camp could be way bigger than it is. But we have a 6-month rule for a reason, because most people don't make it. Because you're not really sincere, really coming to do this work. I need laborers. The Bible says, pray that the Most High send forth laborers. Not people that sit down and just watch and twiddle your thumbs and critique and try to say, well, this is this and that, and why you're not this and why you're not that. If I'm not doing it, you do it. Do I got to ask you to do it? No, just do it. So I don't recruit. We don't recruit. If you want to be a part of us, you inbox me, you let me know, we set it up. But we don't recruit. But assembly is good. It's good. If you don't want to assemble that way, when we have events, when we do PowerPoints, when we do cookouts, whatever it is, come through, man. And just congregate with your brothers and sisters. It's refreshing. It's good. If you could. Or whatever city that you're in. Do it. I'm telling you. It makes a difference. Yeah. Somebody asked, is there any pages out of the book you mentioned worth reading? I mean, yeah. If you plan on getting the book, yeah, I'll tell you a couple of pages. Another thing too I used to do, but it got I had to stop, right? It used to be, and the brothers from New York notice, it doesn't matter what camp you're from. I used to do this for a lot of people. So what it was I used to give out books to everybody. Hey, get this book, get that book, get this book, that book, right? Man, brothers would be bringing me, the brothers wouldn't even read the books. Brothers would buy the book and then bring it to me and be like, what pages? And so I would highlight the pages and stuff like that. Yo, shout out to my man, Brother Officer Zachariah, man, a very patient brother in my camp, man. Officer Zachariah sat down and watched all my videos, my library challenge video books with all my books in it. Went out and got like 20 of those books and just placed them at my feet. Like, I got to go through all those books and highlight everything for them, man. And if so many brothers was doing it, I just couldn't do it no more. It became too much. And I apologize, brothers and sisters. I have a little bit of, you know, I always get into the health thing. I'm taking some ginger and turmeric and, why am I drawing a blank here? Ginger, turmeric, and garlic. Because I have a little bit of phlegm, like a little bit of mucus in my system, which we all get sometimes from, you know, eating foods and stuff that you eat. So you got to constantly be on the herbs, but that's neither here nor there. So I know I've been sniffling a little bit. I was sniffling yesterday in the video. Got in trouble for that. So, you know, I got chewed out behind that thing. But it's all good. It was out of love. It was out of love. Like, yo, you need to take some stuff, so which I was already taking. Now I'm taking more. I'm about to go take some in a minute. I walk with my herbs all the time, so I'm about to take some more in a little minute. What pages are good in this book? What pages are good in this book? Yeah, you know, JH125, black seed oil is good, but black seed oil is expensive as a mother and a son, boy. You know what I'm talking about? And priest Danyaahla, man, I'm a man of limited means and finances, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't do too much cow's milk, but you know what? A lot of other stuff builds up phlegm as well. Too much rice, too much pasta, stuff like that, which I don't even eat a lot of that, but still. I got to cut back a little more on that stuff as well. So what pages are good in this book? Man, I tell you what, shoot, there's a lot. Page 8 is good. Page 14 and 15, I'm fingering through the book and just giving you the pages that I have. But when I highlight stuff in books, I wind up having to go over it with the person anyway, because people will be like, well, why'd you highlight that? What's that important for? What's important to me historically is somebody that studies history or whatever might not be important to somebody else. So, you know, page 19, I have page 20, I have highlighted here. It's a quick, easy read, by the way. Page 29. I'm just fingering, I'm probably skipping some stuff too, but I'm giving you the pages that have a lot of underlining in it. I would suggest you read this whole book and take from it what you can. I have page 129 into 130 highlighted. I have page 134 and 135 highlighted. Yeah, right. Basically, read the whole book. Julius de Wellhausen, one of the forefathers of biblical criticism. Bet the fake world conscious community didn't know about that guy until I said it. William Wellhausen. Another guy by the name of Steinschneider. Another guy. Charleston, another guy. These are all people that started this so-called, what they call biblical criticism. So the book is called To Eliminate the Opiate, which is in the title. As I mentioned, the book is purely conspiracy. I'm not even going to front. A lot of conspiracy, so most people won't want to read it. But the connections and the relationship between people in the past and their belief systems and everything, that's tangible. Like you can, and that's what I take from the book. These people were all working together in concert in different areas to destroy the Bible, ultimately. It's written by a so-called Jew that believes he's a so-called Jew. He believes he's a Jew. And when he started researching things, he realized that there was people within his own community that was set up to try to destroy the Torah. That's pretty much the angle that this guy is coming from. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that you can glean from that book, and you can compare it to what you're hearing today. Yeah, you know, so, I don't know. I think I pretty much talked y'all to death. I'm surprised I maintained as many of y'all with this boring topic as I have for this long. Before I go, I hesitate to ask because then y'all start asking me a whole bunch of questions that's going to take me all over the place. Heavenly asks, is that why Christians don't read the Torah? Well, that's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it. Part of it is also that Christianity was pushed on our people, and by us not following the Torah is why we're in the condition we're in today. So Christianity doesn't teach that, because a lot of our people into Christianity, if they started following that Torah, they'd realize they can't eat pork, they can't eat shrimp, they can't eat lobster, they have to observe the Sabbath, they have to observe the high holy days, they can't keep Christmas no more, etc., etc. America will go bankrupt tomorrow. Can you imagine if every so-called black, Native American, and Hispanic stopped keeping Christmas? What would happen? Could you imagine? America will go bankrupt tomorrow if we stop keeping Christmas. So, you know, Christmas is a huge Christian tradition, right? They've been able to unify Christmas with Christianity, marry them together. I don't know how, considering Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, is in the Bible, but again, most Christians don't read the Old Testament, right? So they have married the two, and they've been able to do that. So that's the reason why. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. I know I'm kind of mumbling a little bit here. Troy Ellis, my brother Yashar, much love to you. I appreciate that comment. I don't know, things I find interesting, a lot of people, they find interesting, but, you know, I guess. It's all relevant. You know what I do find funny, though? Sometimes I'll bring this stuff out, and people will sit here and listen to me. They won't take no notes. They won't retain what I'm saying. It sounds good while I'm saying it. And I'm going to see the same person in 6 months when somebody hit them upside the head with a question. Then they're going to be like, what you say? What was that book again? What was that? That's Israel for you, man. I'm going to tell you, boy. I tell you, my inbox be filled with that. And I'll be laughing sometimes. Somebody come up and be like, yo, I remember you saying this in your video. And I'm like, why didn't you write it then? But, it's all good. It's all good. What else, man? I mean, I'm sitting here talking to y'all. Looks like y'all not getting that PowerPoint tomorrow. Richmond, Virginia. I believe Israelite Saints of Christ is down there. ISOC. If I'm not mistaken, they're in Richmond. I believe Israelite Saints of Christ. Good brothers, keeping the commandments and stuff. So you can look into those brothers, I believe. We're located right now in New York and Pennsylvania. Probably eventually Lines of Israel will branch out to other states. Like I told brothers and sisters, if there's a brother or sister someplace that has that desire for us to be there, we'll establish something there. But if not, if I know a good camp in the area, I'll send y'all there. Like I said, I'm not trying to heap 500 men up under me that's going to be unproductive, because it's just going to piss me off. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I have a good solid nucleus of brothers that I labor with, and we get a lot done. We get a lot done with the brothers I have, and we don't have no dead weight. And sometimes some brothers and sisters, with all due respect, don't really have no real desire to do the work. You kind of just want to be a spectator. And the truth is not a spectator sport. You know, I have this saying that I say to the people, right? Y'all know that every couple of years there's a new date. You know, we had what, 2000, right? Then we had 2012. Then we had 2019, which is almost over. And we're gonna have 2020 next year. And every time we turn around, it's a different date, right? Well, I always say this to people, and then people like kind of look at me like crazy when I say it. But then they understand it when they listen further. The date for the kingdom is in the Bible. It's in there. What date is that? What date is that? I'll tell you. You know what the date is? The date is when we seal the 144,000. That's the date. When the God's servants are sealed, that's the date. And you know how we're going to get to that date? The Bible says through the foolishness of preaching. That's how. That's how we get to that date. When we continue to preach with fervor and vigor and continue to, put in our brick and work to wake this nation up through the spirit and power of the Most High, we'll get to that 144,000. But if you are in Israel and you are just observing, then we're going to be here for a long time, because it's going to be harder to get to that date because there's not enough laborers. That's why Christ said, pray for laborers. If you're a spectator, just continue to watch Maccabeestv. That's fine. But if you are a laborer, call me. Elder Zah, put the number in the chat. If you want to labor, call us. I'll set you up with another camp in your area. Or if you see something within Lines of Israel that you feel like you would like to labor with us, call us. We'll set you up. Either way. But the Most High is looking for laborers, man. Is Elder Zah, if you're in the chat, put the number in the chat. The number is 877-53-LIONS, LIONS. 877-53-LIONS. LIONS, 877-53-LIONS. That's how you get in touch with us. And as I said, you can get in touch with me if you're looking for a camp in your area and you want to know like who I would recommend. I'll give you that. If you want us to come out where you at, you want to set us up to come out and teach in your area, set up a camp out there, there's no camps out there, call us, 877-53-LIONS. If you're not bold enough to go out to camp by yourself and there's nobody else in your area, but you have that zeal, I'll give you one way you can get the truth started in your area. Most states have what's called public access shows, public access cable. Call us. We'll set up a public access cable show in your area, and we can use you as the point person in your state. Phone number, we'll direct all calls to you. People watch the show in your area. We'll do the show. We'll teach the show. We'll send you the video. You give it to the public access show. It'll air. It'll have your phone number on it. The people in the area will contact you. You might run across a couple of brothers and sisters that want to labor. You can get something started in your area independently on your own or with us. I'm not, like I said, I'm not recruiting. It's not what I'm into. I'm good with who I'm with or not. You see what I'm saying? Most camps, they're recruiting. They want to have big numbers and everything. To me, that's unproductive. It's unproductive. All I'm recruiting for is laborers. Just do the work. Just do the work. That's it. Just do the work. That's all I ask. The more camps that pop up, the more of us out there that's laboring, is the closer we get to the date where we will be delivered, and the more the so-called white man and the fake woke conscious community and the enemies of God, the more their hands are tied. Because again, I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. You can't buy everybody off. There's too many camps. There's too many brothers. The genie is out the bottle. You can't stop this truth no more. At all. So we just need laborers. Simple as that. However you want to do it. However you want to do it. The water, Elder Zahab, for putting that in the chat. That's how you get a hold of us if you want to holler at us for any reason. And you may not get a hold of me, because I got a lot of stuff going on. There's other qualified elders. If I'm laboring with them, I'm vouching for them that they're just as qualified as me. So if you don't particularly, if you call the number and you don't particularly talk to me, I'll try to get back to some of y'all. But if I don't, Whoever calls you that's a representative of Lions of Israel is the same as talking to me. Because I do bad already with those of y'all that tell me to call y'all. And some of y'all probably be cursing me under your breath. Y'all already gave me your number and I haven't gotten to it yet because it's so many people and there's so much going on and there's only but so many hours in a day. Okay? Right. So, yeah, so that's a way of getting the word out. Another thing you brothers and sisters could do too, free of charge. It doesn't cost you nothing. Our website is thelionsofisrael.com. Thelionsofisrael.com. If Elder Zahab wants to put that in the chat. When you go to, I believe it's the download section or something on our website, we have flyers on the website, right? Now, you can't do this with most camps because most camps, if you're not really affiliated with them, wouldn't want you handing out their flyers. That's them. To me, I don't give a damn. We're trying to get the word. We're trying to get the word out. It's the information on the flyer is what's most important. We give it to random people at camp that we don't know anyway. If a flyer is a flyer, so you can take some of our flyers if you just want to go on a flyer mission. You know what I'm saying? Keep flyers in your car, in your book bag, whatever. As you go, you're talking to people. You might drop a word on somebody about the truth. You might be having a conversation with somebody in a barbershop or wherever, having a conversation. Drop a flyer on them. You may not be bold enough to go out on the corners by yourself or with two brothers or whatever. That may not be your spirit right now. You got to be built up to that. Take some flyers, walk around with them, and put them in people. Don't put them in any nigga's hand, but somebody that seems like they might, be a little bit awoke or whatever like that. Take that and take those flyers and give it to somebody. The first time I came across this truth was 1991, when me and my sister were walking through Times Square. I always tell the story. We walked through Times Square, we saw the camp, and they gave me a flyer. I didn't come into the truth that same time. I didn't come into the truth in 91. But I took that flyer home, and months later, I still had it and was looking at it. It was right there on my dresser. And who would have thunk, years later, I would have come into the truth a completely different way. But I had the flyer, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't my time in 91. It wasn't my time. I had to go through my whole 5% thing and all the other stuff that I went through before I came into the truth. Okay? So, flyers are important. Person might take it out of your hand. They may go home. They may put it down, and somebody else picked. Wow, the thing just went out and went back in on me. I think I've been going too long, maybe. Yeah. I hear you, Ra Moses. I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about, but I do hear you, though. I hear you. If you're in the building, you didn't hit the like button, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Not because you like me, like I say. When people log on to YouTube, they see videos better in their suggestions when the more likes the video has. Maybe somebody else could come and learn something. Right. So Elder Zahab said, let's put it. The brother in the brother in the chat under the name Pick a Side or Else. That's one of the other elders in our camp. That's Elder Zahab, and so what he's saying is accurate. All right. Right. You know what I'm saying? And Elder Zahab is everybody knows Elder Zahab. Elder Zahab is a straight up and down brother. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down brother. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna give it to you straight. He don't play no games. He's gonna give it to you straight. Everybody that knows the brother knows. He's gonna give it to you straight. So what he's telling you is exactly what he means. That's how we roll. Yeah. Yeah. Key one Kenobi. Yeah. If brothers want to print out flyers off websites and do flyer missions and get flyers out, sure, why not? A flyer is just a flyer. You could take ours. I can't say you could go to another camp and take their flyers because they may not condone. I don't see why a flyer is a flyer. That's it. We give them to strangers anyway. But yeah, anybody's welcome to do that. It's about getting the word out, man. That's what it's about. It's about getting the word out. That's all I care about. Laboring, doing the work. However you can contribute. Sisters can take flyers too. And give them out. There's no prohibition for that. So I hope, once again on a Saturday, I've given y'all like almost 2 hours. I hope that something I said throughout this PowerPoint was helpful to brothers and sisters. Before I go, is there anything else anybody wants to know that's like quick? Anybody have any questions quick? Anything that they want me to mention or whatever that's quick, not a long lesson or nothing like that, before I log off. My timer here, since I've been on 1 hour and 55 minutes, I'll probably make it an even 2 hours, so I'll be on for like another 5, and I'm gonna get out of here. What time is it? It's 1:06. Okay. Well, Lawyer Khan, all praises, man. I know that comes from a good place. I don't want anybody to thank me like I'm not. This is my job. The Bible said, the Most High told the prophet Ezekiel that he had to, if he doesn't blow the trumpet, the people's blood will be upon him. If he doesn't teach the people, warn the people, I should say, their blood will be upon him. So my job is to warn people and also to teach people. That's my job. So that on the day of judgment, I could peradventure receive a crown. You know? The Bible says, I believe it's in the book of Jeremiah, the Most High said, all of our righteousness is as filthy rags. I'm not sitting here like I'm the most righteous brother or I'm righteous at all. I'm just trying to do my part, right? The Bible also tells us in the Apocrypha that when we come to seek the Most High, we must seek the Most High 10 times more. Before I came into this truth, I was a 5%. I was worshiping myself. You understand what I'm saying? Under that old covenant, I was supposed to die for that. I was supposed to die for that. And so I have to seek the Most High 10 times more because I owe the Most High a lot. By me having a second chance to teach this word. That's why I love the scripture in the book of Acts chapter 13, verse 38 on down, which I'm going to get real quick. This is one of my go-to scriptures. Now I'm going to read it real quick. Acts 13, verse 38. I'm so thankful for this scripture. I go over it all the time. I go over it all the time with brothers and sisters in my camp, and I'm so thankful for the scripture. This is the book of Acts chapter 13. I'm reading verse 38. It says, be it known unto you, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you forgiveness of sins. And by him all that believe are justified from all things from which ye could not be justified under the law of Moses. Verse 39 again. And by him all that believe are justified from all things which you could not be justified under the law of Moses. What does that mean? Meaning under the old covenant, under Moses, you're supposed to die. Everything that was written that there was no sacrifice for, you had to die. You had to die. But now we have a second chance to repent and come back. That's why the Bible, when you read about later on in the writings of Paul, when it said no man is justified by the works of the law, what's the works of the law? Animal sacrifice. It can't justify you no more. We're justified by the sacrifice that Yahweh Shah HaMashiach made for us. Grace, period. That's how we're justified. Not by this animal sacrifice that we had under Moses. We're not. That's what that's talking about. So through the grace and mercy of the Most High, I'm able to sit here with you brothers and sisters today. And so I seek the Most High 10 times more. So I'm not doing anybody any favors by coming on here and doing shows and whatever. I'm not doing anybody any favors. I do it out of the sincerity of my heart and because it was what I was commanded by the Almighty to do. And if I can help one person, 2 people, 10 people, whatever, then I've done my job. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. All right. With that being said, family, I'm approaching 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I love y'all, brothers and sisters. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. I'm still going to attempt later on to to give y'all a PowerPoint. If you don't get it tomorrow, you'll get it sometime in the week. There'll be some good information on there. All right, Dwayne Yosef, my brother from another mother. Love you, brother. Hope I see you tomorrow. Hope I see some of y'all tomorrow at the concert in the Bronx. Richard Rogers Amphitheater, the middle of Harlem tomorrow. Israelites are gathering. It's probably one of the last gatherings before it gets cold. So if you can make it tomorrow, 12 o'clock, Marcus Garvey Park, the Richard Rogers Amphitheater. Israelites are gathering for the second How Music concert. We're going to have a good time in the spirit and power of the Most High, fellowshipping, brotherhood, sisterhood, the whole nine. I wish all of y'all could come, but make it a goal. I'm going to end with this. Make it a goal next year, brothers and sisters. Make it your goal. When I say next year, I'm not talking about our year as Israelites, our calendar year. I'm talking about the Gregorian calendar that we use in the society. I was told by one of the elders of the House of David, there's a possibility there won't be any other Israelite summits until after December, like going into January, because airline tickets this time of year, because you have so many pagan holidays coming up, the airlines like to jack their tickets up. So there's not a lot of functions of gatherings going on. There's some, but there's not a lot. Make it your goal going forward from January all throughout the calendar year, the Gregorian calendar year of next year. Set aside in your mind that you're going to try to get to a few Israelite functions. Whichever one. Don't have to be mine or the ones I'm at. Just try and go. If they have a summit, try and go. Somebody having a cookout or a gathering or a concert somewhere, try and go. Somebody's doing a PowerPoint lecture or something somewhere, try and go. I think that you brothers and sisters that haven't been anywhere will enjoy it. I wasn't doing much traveling myself, and I can also speak for my brother, General Hashar. We wasn't doing much traveling, but lately he been traveling and I've been traveling. And you know, the scriptures in the book of, I believe it's the book of Sirach, and the Apocrypha speaks about a man that travels. When you travel a lot, you gain a lot of experience. You see a lot of things that you won't see if you don't travel. Somebody asked me if I'm going to Israel in December. Yeah, I heard about that thing. I don't know. I've been invited to Israel by multiple people. I would like to go, but I'm not sure I'm going to make it in December or not. I can't speak on that at the moment, but I definitely would like, if I could, I'd like to take a pilgrimage to Israel. I would like to go to Egypt. Yeah, I would, just to see it. I'd like to go to London, and I would like to go to Scotland. Those are like my 4 destinations that I would like to go to, specifically for research purposes. I'd like to go to those places. Those are on a bucket list. Not sure how many of them I'll accomplish, but if it be the Lord's will, at some point, I probably will go to Israel, just because of what I've heard from different people, and because I know that there's people over there that have been asking for me to come. I've been, communicating with different people. Shout out to the brothers in Chicago. They've been on my back for like 2 or 3 years to come. Like, they say that they'll put me up. I ain't got to pay for nothing when I get over there. Like, they just want me and General Hashar to come. So, Lord willing, I'm going to go. If it be the Lord's will. But I don't know about December or not. I've been invited for December. I understand there's some big thing going on over there, but I'm not sure I'm gonna make it. And if I was, with all due respect, and I'm not saying this towards you, I'm not one to telegraph everything I'm doing. I just show up. I mean, small things like a concert, I say I'm doing that. When it comes to traveling, though, I don't normally say anything. You just, when we had the Israelite Summit in Atlanta, I think people's faces, not in a bad way, but I think brothers' faces dropped when they saw my camp walk in there, because we didn't tell nobody we was coming. We just showed up. I don't telegraph my moves a lot of times because we have a lot of enemies. You understand? So I just show up. So don't be surprised if y'all see me in your state or somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, That's about it, family. If you didn't hit the like button on your way out. And once again, to all the brothers that donated, I appreciate it. Definitely every little bit helps. I've been slowly like accumulating new equipment that I'm going to be using to broadcast, and a new computer is needed and other things. So every little bit helps, and I appreciate it. I'll never ask y'all, but if you do it, I appreciate it. The best way to support me is my website, wakeupjacob12, wakeupjacob12.com. The Most High puts it on your heart. With that being said, shalom.